Nigeria air launch is a fraud, says Nigeria's House of Representatives. Senate approves President Tinubu's request to appoint 20 special advisors. History made in Osun State as 38-year-old Adewale Egbedo emerges Speaker of the 8th Assembly. And also coming up on Politics HQ, Africa Peace Mission ready to send delegation in mid-June over Russia-Ukraine war. As Sierra Leone and Algeria have been elected to join the United Nations Security Council. And Politics HQ tonight, we will be discussing the current economic situation in the country since the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration was sworn in. We'll also be talking about the House of Reps' concern over undocumented funds paid by the Central Bank of Nigeria, a situation that has made the lawmakers summon the CBN Governor. My guests tonight are Opatola Victor, a legal practitioner, Dr. Dayo Kayode, a public affairs analyst, and Dr. Bibi Farouk, a public affairs analyst. Stay with us, Politics HQ. We'll be right back. Now, the House of Representatives has summoned the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, a former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, and others over a case of missing crude oil. Investigations have revealed that Nigeria may have lost $35 billion in payments to two oil companies with no formal documentation recorded, as 48 million barrels of crude oil have gone missing, with fuel subsidy now also formally removed. The recovery of such controversial funds and many more like it have become important. The House had previously invited the CBN Governor and the former Justice Minister, but its invitation not answered. Tonight on Politics HQ, I have with me Dr. Dayo Kayode, Public Affairs Analyst, joining us from Lagos, and also Victor Opatola, a legal practitioner. Now, one welcome to you, Victor, and thanks for joining us in Politics HQ.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Now, Victor, as we delve into the allegations of unauthorized payments and missing crude oil, what do you believe are the potential political ramifications for the key figures like the CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, and the former Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami?
Okay. The implications are quite numerous. First of all, it shows the kind of country in which we particularly live in. It shows that the issue of adequate security, it shows that the state is abdicating its responsibility, especially when it comes to its major responsibility, which is security in the state. Because the issue of missing crude oil, this issue has been repetitive. It has been happening over and over and over again. And whenever there is investigation such as this, which is always conducted by the National Assembly, we do not always get to know the positive end of this thing. Although the current investigation that is ongoing has shown that there are issues of missing crude oil or issues of monies that were paid into some bank accounts and were not duly accounted for. There have been such issues which are currently undergoing litigations currently in various courts and in other foreign jurisdictions. But notwithstanding, it is an indictment on the federal government, it is an indictment on Nigeria to begin with, that such reckless acts can be done in our country in the first instance. So apart from the political ramification, there's also an economic angle to it. Most of these funds, most of this crude oil that have always gone missing, it shows a little bit the larger picture that for one crude oil that we've come to, for one instance of missing crude oil, that means there are other instances of missing crude oil which we don't know about, which investigation has not been able to show. It shows that there are numerous instances such as these where the country has been losing billions and billions and billions of naira, especially in this instance where the federal government is currently using the issue of the fact that subsidy is expensive and it cannot continue paying subsidy in this country. So it shows that our pulse has been bleeding due to nefarious activities of some selfish individuals who are hell-bent of bleeding this country dry financially.
Thank you very much, Victor Opatola. I would like to bring in our second guest into this very important conversation we're having now. Dr. Dayo Kayode, I believe, is online with us. One welcome to you and good evening to you, Dr. Kayode. Okay, I'll stay with Victor while we try to rectify the audio connection with Dr. Dayo Kayode. Now, Victor, these allegations, I mean, if you were in other countries, you see thousands of people on the streets, heads will be rolling, there will be consequences for this monumental theft. It seems there are little or no consequences for this sort of behavior, and I guess it reinforces it like you alluded to in your opening statement. Now, the House of Representatives has summoned the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Emefiele, to explain the 32.5 billion naira payment made without formal documentation. It's not the first time the House will be summoning the CBN Governor. They summoned the CBN Governor and the former immediate past Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, and they failed to turn up. Two questions here. Number one, are there no consequences for not responding to the summons of the Parliament, the whole Parliament of Nigeria? And how concerning is it that such a significant amount was paid to companies without proper records? This is not 32 million naira or 3.2 million naira. We're talking about 32.5 billion naira here. Okay, I believe we've lost Victor Opatola. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue our conversation with our esteemed guests. You stay with us, this Politics HQ at News Central Television. You're welcome back to Politics HQ News Central Television, and we've been discussing the summoning by Nigeria's House of Representatives of the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the immediate past Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, over missing crude oil and some payments that were questionable. And joining me to discuss this, I have Dr. Dayo Kayode and also Mr. Opatola, a legal practitioner. Now, Dr. Kayode, the House of Representatives has summoned the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Emefiele, to explain the 32.5 billion naira payment made without formal documentation. Two questions here. It's not the first time the House has been summoned the CBN Governor and Mr. Malami, the erstwhile Minister of Justice. They failed to show up. What are the implications of that? Do you have a situation where some individuals are bigger than summons from the Parliament? And how concerning is it that such a significant amount was paid to companies without proper records?
Yes, thank you for having me this evening to discuss this particular trending issue in our nation. You see, there's no doubt about it that Nigeria is now being likened to the animal farm, whereby some animals are bigger than the others. In Nigeria today, there is nothing like equity or fairness. You can only get fairness or be recognized when you belong to those people there and you can also speak their language. And what is their language? Comradeship. All right? You can remember the National Assembly summoned the erstwhile managing director of NDDC the other time. And this same person fingered that even the chairman of that committee benefited from what they are querying him for. And what did we hear? Stop the mic. Stop the mic.
Off your mic, Honorable.
Are you with me? Stop off the mic. Off the mic. Now, up to today, has that issue been revisited? No. Let us come to the issue of during COVID-19, when the Minister of Finance, I think, was invited by the National Assembly to come and explain how that humongous amount of money she was claiming Nigeria has spent as palliative to Nigerians, to come and explain to them. And then to show receipts. What happened? He said those receipts that she was supposed to show were in the Accountant General's office. After about 6 hours, what happened to that office? And have we heard anything about it today? No. This same Emefiele we are talking about was summoned in view of what he made Nigerians to suffer during the cash when they were changing the colors of our naira. What has happened to it? I can go on and on and on about so many people that have been invited for questioning in National Assembly, and nothing has happened. Now, when you're also talking about, is there nothing like punishment?
Yes.
Or consequences for those that refuse to heed the call of the National Assembly? For some.
Okay, we'll go on a quick break. This is Politics HQ, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with our esteemed guest. Welcome back to Politics HQ News Central Television. We apologize for the technical glitch we've experienced today on the program. I still have with me Dr. Dayo Kayode and also Victor Opatola, legal practitioner. We've been discussing the summoning by the House of Representatives of the CBN Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, and the immediate past Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, over missing crude oil and some unremitted payments. Now, Dr. Kayode, there's this issue of the chairman of the ADA committee. He mentioned a loss of 48 million barrels of crude oil. This loss is worth over $2 billion. How alarming is this revelation, and what measures should be taken to prevent future occurrences?
Yes, it is as alarming as it has authenticated my submissions in the past that subsidy in this country has always been a scam. Now, I will explain. Who else are the people that could successfully make 40 million barrels of crude oil to be missing? Is it you or me? That is number one. Number two, are we also aware of the direct sales, direct purchase of NNPC as regards the issue of selling our crude oil to a refinery and then getting back the value of that crude oil in other products that we are bringing in, PMS.
Oh, you mean the crude swap?
Aviation fuel and diesel. All right. Now, if you listen to Uday's expose, you could see that there was nothing like subsidy there, because we are giving you this and you are giving us this one back. Nothing like payment. It was even it has always been on FOB. Incidentally, just yesterday or so, the managing director of NNPC now came out to say, listen, we have removed that particular contract. We are not going to follow it again. So tell me, who has been fully who as regards the subsidy? Now, essentially, let me conclude this answer with this. Nigerians have been made to be paying for the excesses of our leaders. We have been made to be paid for the excesses of our leaders. Because when all these monies are being carted away, I just want to be civil. I don't want to use have been stolen away. You and I are now being made to pay for it. With all this expose now, you can see that my submissions in the past as regards subsidy, saying has been a scam, has now been verified. It has now been authenticated by the leaders themselves. 40 million barrels of fuel missing. You don't know what that means? That means even some had been missing in the past. And I bet you in the coming days, we'll be hearing a lot about this issue.
Now, Dr. Kayode, considering the discrepancies in the lifting of crude oil and the under-declaration by certain companies, what systemic weaknesses within Nigeria's oil industry might have allowed such practices to persist? And what reforms should we consider to strengthen oversight and prevent future losses since we have a new administration in Nigeria now?
Now, let me tell you this. Let me give you an instance. Look at this Boeing 777 whatever of the Ethiopia Airlines that had a crash the other time. Okay? That aircraft, the engineering of that aircraft was perfect. Nothing wrong with it. But because of human activities, that aircraft got crashed off. Okay? Now, let me come now to what you were talking about. We have a lot of laws in this country that are good, including the oversight. Don't we have the National Assembly, both the Senate and the House of Reps, having oversight functions on all those departments? We have now. But the question is this: our human nature, will it allow it? There was a time I made mention of Aramco Oil of Saudi Arabia, whereby that company had been declaring profits over the years, and such a profit had been enjoyed by the people. Unlike here, despite all the humongous amount of money being spent on NNPC, year in, year out, NNPC have been declaring losses.
Now, Dr. Kayode, we understand. Dr. Kayode, we understand that these things do have real-life human consequences. So if there's, and it's an anomaly, so why do we allow this to go on? Are you expecting a change? Are you expecting a change now that we have a new sheriff in town?
It will continue to go on when people, the necessary punishment that are meant for those that are causing these problems are not being implemented on them. If we align all these things to end up at the table of panel of inquiry without meting out the necessary punishments, then it will keep on going on. Look at Emefiele that I showing his picture now. I wouldn't expect Emefiele to be walking on the streets of Nigeria by now because of the agros that he had caused Nigerians. He's supposed to have been in jail by now. By now for what he has done. When he was trying to change our naira. But look at him walking. So tell me, the next person coming in there, why will he not do even worse things when he knew I've been issued?
So to summarize your point, there should be consequences for actions, and it shouldn't just be one committee to the next committee. Dr. Kayode, moving on, because we're quickly running out of time. In light of the lack of proper supervision identified by this ad hoc committee, what responsibilities should major oil companies like Shell Petroleum Development Company bear in ensuring transparent practices within the industry? How can regulatory bodies collaborate with these companies to address these shortcomings?
Now, you see, all these foreign companies that are here, go and check out their activities in other countries. You will see that they are perfect. But in Nigeria here, the moment those that are supposed to be having oversight functions on them are even the ones that are encouraging them to bypass the laws, to go on short corners, to cut corners on so many ways, then it will continue. But if we have purposeful and sincere government in place that will serve as a check on these people, then you will see that everything will go accordingly. But anything short of that, what have been happening in the past is what we still be saying.
Now, Dr. Kayode, given the magnitude of the alleged missing crude oil and unauthorized payment, what measures should be implemented to rebuild public trust in the country's institutions? Because from the way you're speaking, and you've spoken tonight, you seem to have little trust or hope. And also, how can the government communicate its commitment to transparency and accountability to regain public confidence?
Yes. Number one, Nigerians are now aware that subsidy is nothing other than a scam. So let them come out to apologize to Nigerians and then revert back the prices of petroleum products to what it used to be in perhaps 2014 running to 2015. Number two, everybody that have been fingered in this 40 million barrels of crude oil missing must be brought to book. Whoever you are, no matter how big you are in the society, let some people be brought to book. Number three, for us to have further trust in the government, Nigerians want to know the quantity of PMS that we consume per day without any inflation. All right? Number four, Nigerians want to know, in as much as you are not producing or refining crude oil here, Nigerians want to know the actual price of the landing cost of these petroleum products that you are importing to Nigeria. So the moment you can put all these ones in place, let there be a kind of a structure that will ensure the continuity of these four steps. With that, the lost trust in government will now start to be coming back gradually. And then we get there.
Thank you very much for your brilliant analysis, Dr. Dayo Kayode. Always a pleasure having you join us in Politics HQ. I'd also like to say thank you to Victor Opatola. We lost connection earlier, but we did speak for a bit. Thank you very much for your contribution and your time.